Yo, what's going on, everybody? It is your boy Fitzmonk TV here, aka G33. I want to welcome you guys back here to the Legit Shoot podcast, here with your Smackdown review and results for November 27th, 2020. Thank you guys so very much for joining me here on the podcast today. I know it's been a couple weeks since we did a Smackdown review. We didn't do one last week before Survivor Series. I got very busy. So hopefully you guys can forgive me for that. But we're back on it this week, back to our regular normal schedule. I know, it's been a crazy week with Thanksgiving. Some of you guys may not see this till a couple days after. I know you guys are staying with your families or whatever you guys are doing. I just want to take a quick moment to wish you guys a happy Thanksgiving, right? Hopefully you guys had a good turkey day. You guys gotta eat some good food, spend some time with your loved ones if you're able to. I know the government is making it pretty tough on this right now, and it's been a very rough year, right? But hopefully, even if you didn't get any chance to, spend with your loved ones, hopefully you got a chance to, take a second and appreciate that you've been able to survive all the craziness of this year. And if it's by God's will, we're about to end the year with Christmas and New Year's. Maybe you'll get a chance then to spend some time with your loved ones. All right. And hopefully you guys, if it's by the will of God, by 2021, things will hopefully get back to some form of normalcy. Right. But hopefully you guys had a good Thanksgiving. Just wanted to take a couple seconds and say that to you guys. But we are here with the podcast tonight. Smackdown, the first Smackdown since Survivor Series. If you guys have not checked out the Survivor Series or the Monday Night Raw reviews, those are live on the channel as always. I'm going to be eating a clementine here to begin the podcast. So, just let you guys know that. But if you guys didn't check out those podcasts, they're both live on the channel. Really good as always. You guys know I never disappoint, so go check those out. But I do have an opening shoot for you guys today, and it's on Sasha Banks, right? You guys know I consider myself to probably be the biggest advocate for Sasha Banks in the IWC, right? In the YouTube wrestling community. I know there's some people on social media that may do a better job of doing that than me, but when it comes to YouTube, I don't think there's anybody who covers Sasha with as much passion and support as I do, right? I'm not trying to brag. It's just I believe I'm that big a Sasha fan. And most of my subscribers are Sasha Banks fans as well. Just look at the comment section on every podcast video. But there's been a problem. Well, there's been many problems with WWE. But one of the problems WWE has had lately is Vince McMahon deciding to either rewrite scripts right before the shows go on the air, or not deciding to even start the script till a couple hours before. And one theme that's become consistent with WWE as of late is you can tell when watching Raw or SmackDown, right? You can tell when a show was just written or if the script was just rewritten. You can tell. Almost every week with Raw, it seems like the script's getting rewritten. And that's why, we get 3 hours of bad television. SmackDown at least is decent most weeks. But the last couple weeks, SmackDown seems to be struggling a little bit more because you're hearing more and more reports of the show being rewritten. Last night, that was the same case with SmackDown last night. Vince McMahon came late to the Thunderdome, right? And they didn't decide to start writing the script till he got there. It wasn't a case of the script being rewritten. They didn't start writing the script till they got there. So SmackDown was a mess. And you can notice that on TV. It seems like, the last couple weeks, there's been common themes like Jey Uso being the main event, right? Even though I don't mind it, it seems like something that they're putting in last minute because they don't have any concrete plan. And I've been noticing this a lot with Sasha Banks. Whenever she's on TV, that's when my attention's on WWE the most because she's my favorite superstar. I believe she's the best in the world, and yada, yada, yada. I can go on and on and on. But the last couple weeks, if you guys have noticed, Sasha's been on TV less and less. They're not mentioning, how she was in The Mandalorian, but yet they'll mention how the New Day are in the new Gears of War video game DLC. And I'm just like, this is free media Sasha's giving you guys, and you're not advertising her. Like, what are you doing? It's been almost a month. It's already been almost a month since Sasha's appearance on The Mandalorian, which is wild to think about. But WWE has made one mention of Sasha on The Mandalorian on SmackDown. And the bigger problem is she's getting less and less TV time. It's been reported by multiple sources that when Sasha and Bayley were feuding, they were putting up the highest rating segments for SmackDown all year throughout the duration of their feud, which was about a month and a half. Even though we all wish it could go on a little bit longer, it was still great for what it was. But here, the thing about it is, ever since Sasha and Bayley had that last match, right, on SmackDown, which was great. It was like they got 2.75 million viewers, something like that. The highest rating SmackDown segment all year. Sasha's been on TV less and less. And remember, she's the SmackDown Women's Champion, right? She just had a banger of a match at Survivor Series. She's doing arguably the best work of her career right now, and you're not putting her on TV more? I understand Roman, is doing just as well. And, if we're talking about MVPs for WWE 2020, Sasha and Roman are 1 and 2. You can argue who has meant more to the company this year, but, you're not going to debate with me about, who's the MVP. It's one or the other. But why is Sasha getting far less TV time than Roman? Sasha's also been mentioning it on her interviews. If you pay attention, every single day, Sasha's doing another interview. She just did an interview with Variety, a huge news outlier, right? Or outlet. My bad, I said outlier. But anyway, she mentioned in that interview that I wish I could get more time than Roman Reigns. There was also I'm not going to say a leak, but there was supposedly on Reddit, there was a WWE employee that used to be a writer that got, laid off because of the pandemic and WWE trying to cut costs. And, the post was, deleted, but came back up like a day later, which made people think it's real. This report went into detail that how when Roman came back, everything got messed up. There was reports of Roman refusing to be anything less than the top guy on SmackDown, right? Now wanting to drop the title to The Fiend, which is part of the reason why The Fiend was moved to Raw, because Roman didn't want to work with The Fiend, even though a lot of people wanted to see that feud, including me, right? There was rumors saying that The Fiend was supposed to be a long Universal Champion, but, when Roman came back, Roman did not want to have a short title reign. And then also Roman coming back affected the Sasha and Bayley feud because they had other plans for that feud. But Roman didn't want the women outshining him and taking time away from him, which I don't want to believe that's true. But Roman is the top guy in WWE right now. And he gets more time than anybody on TV, even if it's a promo segment. Just look at his damn entrances in the Thunderdome. His entrances in the Thunderdome are legit like 3 minutes long. So I honestly wouldn't be surprised if this was the case. But the thing about it is, if you notice, as Roman's TV time has gone up and up, and every time he's every week it seems like he's on TV more and more. And yes, he's doing fantastic work, but you're noticing that Sasha's time has been smaller and smaller, which was the case this week with SmackDown. Ever since she won the title, right? Her segments the last couple of weeks, she's done promo segments with Asuka and promo segments by herself. And we all know she looks like a star. Right? She has everything. She has the whole look together. But the problem is, right, her first week, the night that her Mandalorian episode debuted, she was on TV for maybe 3 minutes when she got attacked by Carmella. Then the next week, she did a segment with Asuka face-to-face. Segment was like 5 minutes. Now this week, she did a segment with Carmella. And we'll talk about that a little bit later. Sasha was legit on TV for maybe 45 seconds at most. And she's your SmackDown Women's Champion. She was the one that's been carrying WWE throughout the entire year, putting up the highest rating segments on Raw, NXT, SmackDown, and pay-per-views. And all you can give her is 45 seconds? Look, I don't want to believe that what's being said about Roman Reigns is true, because I believe the guy's a really good guy. But if he is doing that, it's not right, because that's just selfish. Roman's already in the top position of the company. He's the Universal Champion. So you tell me Roman has that kind of pull where he can send the Fiend to Monday Night Raw and also take time away from other people's segments for himself? I don't want to believe that's true, but if it is, it's not right. Roman's not going anywhere. Roman's spot as the number one guy. It's not going anywhere. We all know he's the number one guy. But you mean that you gotta take time away from other segments because you don't want to be overlooked? There's no way Roman could be overlooked anyway. especially with what he's doing right now. But Roman should care about the whole division. He should care about what everybody is doing, not just himself, because you want the whole company to succeed. One thing about WWE is they don't have enough stars anyway. Roman and Sasha are two of the only legit stars in the company, and that's sad. And if Roman is the one that's telling Vince McMahon, oh, do this, do that, that's not helping the company. It's not. But yeah, maybe it helps Roman's storyline, but at the end of the day, it doesn't help the company because everybody else on the show looks like crap because they're doing it for Roman. I used to bitch and moan about this all the time. And just because Roman's doing fantastic work now as a heel doesn't mean he gets to do whatever he wants. I don't believe that whatsoever. But my message here with this opening shoe is I want, WWE needs to get their priorities together. Stop with the writing scripts for the show 2 to 3 hours beforehand. Stop rewriting scripts. They have good writers there in WWE. It's because they're so scared that Vince is never going to let them, go through with their ideas that they're forced to write stupid crap. Like, come on. And the thing is, SmackDown wasn't even a bad show last night. It wasn't even that terrible. But the thing is, when you have Sasha Banks, one of the biggest stars in the whole company, only getting 45 seconds, and it's starting to become a trend, this is getting less and less time each and every single week, you know for damn sure I'm going to come over here and bitch and moan about it. I'm going to let you guys know what I think. You know what I mean? I've never been one to shut my mouth. So my message here is, if anybody from WWE is watching, stop with the whole script writing, 2 hours beforehand. Sasha Banks is the biggest star you guys have outside of Roman on SmackDown. And she proved that this summer. Put her on TV. Give her longer segments. There's a problem when Roman's entrance to the ring is longer than the time Sasha gets in the segment. That's not right. Not right whatsoever. So you guys need to fix that. All right, so that's my opening shoot, man. Give Sasha the TV time she deserves because she is one of your biggest stars, and the ratings prove it. So we're going to get into SmackDown tonight. So, basically, the show started off with Roman Reigns. Roman Reigns coming off another big victory right at Survivor Series when he defeated Drew McIntyre. You guys remember he had help from Jey Uso. It was a fantastic match, right? Not going to say a lot, you guys, but definitely a match of the year candidate, and we'll definitely be talking about that when we do our top 10 next month during the holiday season. So basically, Jey Uso, he hyped up the victory of Roman Reigns over Drew McIntyre. So then Roman interrupted the promo, right? He headed to the ring on his own time. He didn't even let Jey finish, his introduction. So, you can see Roman basically disrespecting his cousin here, right? Just because he's a heel, he's the tribal chief, he's the champion, he thinks he can do whatever he wants, right? So then they showed a video package from Survivor Series highlighting Uso's failure as team captain for the men's SmackDown team. And then they showed also how he tried to pay Roman back by, helping Roman win against Drew McIntyre. We all know the SmackDown team got swept 5-0 by Raw's team in what was probably the biggest surprise from Survivor Series, even though no one cares. Because now the Survivor Series is over, and I said this on the Survivor Series podcast, there's no reason to care. There's absolutely zero reason to care. Why should we care? Right? There was no stakes. Adam Pearce had to come up with some bullshit excuse for stakes on Monday Night Raw when they did all those one-on-one singles matches to help determine who would be in the triple threat match for Drew McIntyre's WWE Championship. But still, there was no stakes. After SmackDown tonight, no one's going to talk about Survivor Series. Yes, people may go back and watch those matches, like Sasha Banks and Asuka, and the Street Profits versus the New Day, and Roman versus Drew, because those were fantastic. Plus, people might go back and watch The Undertaker's farewell. But at the end of the day, who the hell cares about Survivor Series? What's going to be the legacy of Survivor Series outside of those matches and The Undertaker's farewell? Nothing. There was nothing on the line. There was no stakes. It was just for meaningless bragging rights, which don't mean shit to me in 2020. But anyway, Reigns questioned why Uso got involved in the main event between him and Drew before quickly saying that his cousin had embarrassed the family by not guarding the respect of his team. So Roman tried to say the reason why SmackDown got swept was because no one feared Jey Uso. Which I guess you can make an argument for, but we all knew going in that Raw's Men's Survivor Series team was going to win the match. The SmackDown team for both the men and the women were formed legit the day before Survivor Series. Otis didn't even have a qualifying match. The woman, I actually thought the woman had a chance. The woman should have won the Survivor Series match. But at least for the men had no chemistry. There was no story going on. Right? Like I said, Otis didn't even qualify. Adam Pearce just threw him in there when it was supposed to be Big E. Like, come on, make some common sense out of that. And then the whole thing, we all knew the men's Raw Survivor Series team was going to win. We all knew that. So there's really nothing that Roman could have said here. It wasn't Jay's fault. The guy, even if he had gained the respect of his team, right? Made them respect him, whatever you want to call it, they still would have lost. We all knew the men's Survivor Series team was going to win for Monday Night Raw, right? So Uso was unable to speak because Roman just kept, dicking him down. Pause, but you guys understand what I'm saying. Roman just kept, laying into him, right? And, Roman, he's coming off as that cocky heel. Like, everything's about me, me, me. Like, everything Jey Uso does is for me. It's like Jey Uso is like a slave to Roman now. So I love the way Roman comes off with this heel run. So basically, Roman says, if you can't gain the respect of the people in the locker room, then what the hell are you doing here? And, you can tell this left Jay very emotional. Like, he almost looked like he was going to come out to tears. And I love what they're doing here with Jey Uso, man. I really do. Because eventually, not now, not anytime soon, but eventually Jay will turn on Roman Reigns again. I don't see him becoming Universal Champion, but eventually that's what's going to happen. It's not going to be for a long time. Because Jimmy Uso, he's going to come back and then they're going to join the Tribal Chief faction. Probably go after the Street Profits and the tag team titles. But either way, eventually down the line, the Usos are going to get sick of this. And then they're going to go back to being normal baby faces, which I don't really have a problem with. But that's clear where the storyline's going for now. But it's going to be a long time till we get to that point. But basically, Otis had a match with King Corbin, right? And, the words of gaining the respect of the SmackDown locker room, making them fear him, right? Basically kept ringing through Jay's ears. So then as Otis walked to the ring, Jay came up behind him and blasted him with chair shots. Basically saying, oh, you need to respect me. You need to fear me, right? So, it was clearly, you could clearly see why they were doing this. And I didn't mind it whatsoever. It was whatever, right? Not a bad segment. This would be a common thing with Jey Uso during the night. He would attack Daniel Bryan later on, and then Kevin Owens would take Jey Uso off him, like what the hell you were doing. And then KO went to confront Roman Reigns in the back, right? And he says, for someone that you consider family, you treat him like trash. But it's true. That's Roman's character, right? So Kevin Owens, speaking from that babyface perspective, makes perfect sense. This would set up for KO versus Jey Uso in the main event, which we'll talk about because I actually really liked what they did with the main event tonight. Really did. It's setting up perfectly for TLC. All right. I also did notice something. Otis, as he was being carried from the back, because clearly he was unable to compete against Baron Corbin because of the attack, right? I noticed that Chad Gable, I don't know where that storyline's going. Right, I keep thinking that Chad Gable's supposed to be a heel. That's what they were setting up with this whole new Olympia gimmick they're giving him. But I don't know. I feel like WWE has no plans for it, really. Like, they have no plans for anything they do on their shows. Like, I want to get something I want to get behind, but for right now, I don't see anything really behind it. I don't. But I'll keep you guys updated with that, like always. So, next up, we had the Street Profits versus Dolph Ziggler and Robert Roode. Just pissed me off. Right? I can already go on and on how there's no tag team division in WWE. You guys hear me say this every single week on the podcast. Like, I don't have to remind you guys. You guys know my thoughts on the tag team division and how worthless it actually is. But the Street Profits are coming off probably the biggest win of their career. Right? The biggest win of their career. When they defeated the New Day in what was probably WWE's best tag team match of the year at Survivor Series. And a great match. One of the best tag team matches we've seen all year. Really good stuff. And then you had the Street Profits come out tonight, 5 days after the biggest win of their career, when they should have all this momentum, and you have them lose to Dolph Ziggler and Robert Roode. Are you kidding me right now? Really? Really? That's what we're doing? That's what we're doing. So basically, well, let's talk about it. So Robert Roode and Dolph Ziggler, they refused to give anyone credit except themselves. They said that they deserved the SmackDown Tag Team Championships, right? So the Street Profits, didn't like how they were being insulted by Ziggler and Roode, so they then mocked the duo for their fashion choices. They compared Dolph Ziggler to HBK, which everyone says that. Everyone believes Dolph Ziggler is a copycat Shawn Michaels. He has the in-ring talent of Shawn Michaels, plus he dresses very similar to Shawn Michaels. He's a bootleg Shawn Michaels. And we all know Dolph Ziggler has all the talent in the world, and he can put on a 5-star classic with almost anybody, but, he's always going to be a loser in WWE's eyes. And, you can't convince me otherwise. And I forgot what they said about Robert Roode. They said something about his facial hair, right? But, even though I don't mind Robert Roode and Dolph Ziggler as a tag team at all, it's just these two should be so much higher on the pole, right? These two, both former world champions. Robert Roode, was a world champion in Impact. Plus, he was NXT champion with one of the best gimmicks in the entire company. And then, don't get me started. I don't have to go through Dolph Ziggler's career. You guys already know it. So it just pisses me off. It really does. Whether I look at talented guys not being used correctly. But anyway, so we got a match here between the two. We've seen this match before. It wasn't anything bad, right? Like, it's Dolph Ziggler and the Street Profits, right? It would be pretty hard for them to put on a bad match. But basically, Dawkins and Ford, they came back, hit a spine buster into a frog splash combo, but then Ziggler broke it up. Then some chaos ensued, and then the Glorious One rode up forward with a handful of tights for the 3. So clearly this is going to settle for a SmackDown Tag Team Championship match between the Street Profits and Roode and Ziggler. Maybe for TLC, but I'm not really interested in seeing that match at TLC, right? So I would do it just get out of the way, do it if they want, they could do it in a couple weeks. Maybe they'll do it next week, but I don't see Roode and Ziggler taking the titles from the Street Profits. The team that I see taking the SmackDown Tag Team titles from the Street Profits are the Usos. Once Jimmy Uso comes back, which he should be close to coming back by now, right? He should be back within the next month. Once he's back, I see the Usos being the ones to take the titles from the Street Profits in what I think will be a damn good feud. That's a feud that, if you want, can go from Royal Rumble all the way through WrestleMania. That's a feud I am very excited for. Two of the best tag teams in the world, and I cannot wait to see those teams go to war. If you give the titles to Roode and Ziggler, I'm not gonna care. I'm not gonna care, really. The thing about it is, like I said, the Street Profits are coming off the biggest victory of their careers, the biggest victory they've ever had, and then you have them lose. You have them lose just a couple days later to freaking Bobby Roode and Dolph Ziggler. Like, you can tell this was a show that was written correctly. There's other ways to get Robert Roode and Dolph Ziggler a tag team title match, right? If you want them to be the number one contenders, fine. It's whatever. It's a filler feud to me, because like I said, the next big feud for the Street Profits is going to be against the Usos once Jimmy comes back. But there's other ways to get a tag team title match with these two teams without having the Street Profits lose clean when they're coming off the biggest win of their career. They just beat one of the best tag teams of all time in the New Day clean at Survivor Series just to get rolled up by Robert Roode here. This is the 50-50 booking. That's such a problem in WWE these days. It's like, come on. Common sense. It's common sense. Really. I don't get it with this company, man. So clearly we're going to get a tag team title match with these two teams. I don't see the Street Profits losing because for the reasons I already mentioned. It's just the logic of how we get to these title matches makes no sense. No sense to me. So next up, we had Sami Zayn versus Daniel Bryan. So they showed a recap. They showed a recap of the final farewell to The Undertaker, right? And like I said, I spent time this week watching all those cameo videos someone posted on YouTube. All the cameos that The Undertaker did. He did like 30 special cameos for 30 fans, right? Each were $1,000 each. And WWE's clearly the ones getting the profits for it. Which, you know, I don't need to go on a rant about. I already did that last week on the podcast. Because the whole situation with, you know, WWE banning superstars for being on Cameo and Twitch. But yeah, here's WWE going into business for themselves and making an easy $30,000, right? Just off The Undertaker being on Cameo, which is ridiculous if you ask me. But I'm not going to, you know, go into it. I've already done. Just go check out the Survivor Series prediction show, right? I did talk about it sometime on that podcast. But either way, they did show in their recap, which is no surprise. They do these things to pass time. Daniel Bryan explained that he was calm and focused in his pursuit of the IC Championship. I did read reports, and I think I talked about it last week on the podcast as well. Daniel Bryan versus Roman Reigns. You know, WWE's struggling right now to find opponents for Roman Reigns, right? Because, you know, I don't see Roman losing that championship till probably WrestleMania. Here's the thing. Most likely, that person to take the title from Roman Reigns would be Big E. That's what all the betting odds are saying right now. You know, Big E is right now the favorite to win the Royal Rumble match. But honestly, I like Big E, and I'm excited to see where they go with his singles run. Because they seem like he is acting a little more serious these days. He's nowhere near completely away from the New Day character. He's still part of the New Day, right? He came out with the New Day Survivor Series. But he is acting a little more serious. So I will give WWE credit for that. But he still has a long way to go. But I don't know. I feel like Daniel Bryan versus Roman Reigns may be the bigger match. We still have a good 5 months till WrestleMania. We still have a long way to go. But I feel like the bigger match is most likely Reigns versus Bryan, not Reigns versus Big E. So, I don't know. They do have Bryan, I guess, trying to go after the IC Championship as of right now. But, you know, it's honestly whatever. It's honestly whatever. Because clearly I don't think we see Daniel Bryan winning the IC Championship because clearly he's going to feud with Roman. But I'm just saying, I feel like they could save Bryan versus Roman for WrestleMania, right? Not the Royal Rumble as the plans are right now. But I could be wrong, but we'll see. It's all going to depend on how far Big E progresses. Because even I have doubts if Big E's going to be ready for that main event spot. Because most likely Roman versus Big E would probably be the main event of WrestleMania. So, I don't know. But let me know what you guys think about that. Would you guys rather see Big E versus Roman at Mania or Daniel Bryan versus Roman? Especially if there's a crowd, if they're actually going to have fans at WrestleMania this year in Tampa. The Yes Chants, imagine those live. Like, come on. I feel like it's a walk in the park. You automatically write Daniel Bryan versus Roman Reigns. But I don't know. But anyway, so we had Sami Zayn. He came out to the ring. He complained that the Planet's champion, Daniel Bryan, did not deserve another shot after losing at WrestleMania 36. Bryan interrupted, Sami Zayn's rant and went after him. So we got a really good match here. Like, clearly, this is Sami Zayn and Daniel Bryan. Like, a good match is, that's a cakewalk for these two, right? There was a lot of similarity to the match that we saw between these two at WrestleMania. But, Sami Zayn, his character is more of a, he's kind of a runner, right? He's a strategist. He's a strategic heel. That's the best way to describe him. He's a I can't get my words right this morning. Strategic heel. So basically, what happened here? All right, so he did the Blue Thunder Bomb, and I love when Sami does that move, man. One of my all time favorites, the Blue Thunder Bomb. I wish he would use it more. I wish he would actually win using that move. It's better than the Huluva kick, if you ask me. But after Bryan kicked out, Bryan was able to roll the champion to the Leslie Hawk, and then Sami Zayn tried to run. So basically what happened here, Sami tried to run from Daniel Bryan, so they run out of the Thunderdome backstage, and then all of a sudden the ref is counting to 10 like the ref should. So then Sami Zayn comes back, but Daniel Bryan is nowhere to be found. Right? We come to find out that Jey Uso attacked Daniel Bryan backstage. So then we see Sami Zayn come back, and he wins via countout. So, like I said, you don't see many people as strategic as Sami Zayn. Most of the time, he's not going to beat you clean, but he'll find strategic ways to win, just like how he won the IC Championship using the handcuffs, back at, what was it, Clash of Champions, I believe it was. Then also, it was either Clash of Champions or Hell in a Cell. I think it was Clash of Champions. Or how he tied Apollo Crews to the outside of the ring a couple weeks ago in that IC Championship match. And now tonight, winning by countout by baiting Daniel Bryan outside the ring, making Daniel Bryan look like a stupid babyface because Bryan could have just easily won the match via countout. But, that's just the stupid babyface move. So I like how strategic Sami Zayn is in his victories each week. How long will it work for him? I don't know. Because backstage after the match, a little later on, he was supposed to get interviewed by Caleb Braxton, but he got confronted by Big E and Apollo Crews. Apollo said he'll be seeing Sami, letting him know that he wants another shot for the IC Championship. Good luck with that, Apollo. Good luck with that. But he also then got confronted by Big E. Big E laughed in Sami's face, and Big E was, he had a nice little mix of being serious and being funny. I'm not saying Big E can't be funny. The guy is legit a funny guy, right? I just don't want to see the guy gyrating like he used to do with the New Day, doing all that nonsense he doesn't need. I don't want to see that in my Universal Champion, soon to be, right? So I want Big E to actually be serious. Here and there. You can make jokes every once in a while. John Cena does that all the time. John Cena, the king of jokes on the microphone. But when it came down to being serious, the guy is one of the best talkers in WWE history. Right up there with the Stone Colds, the CM Punks, right? The Sasha Banks, one of the best talkers in WWE history. Easy. And I want that for Big E, because Big E can talk on the mic. It's just that we're so used to him having that carefree attitude. But I liked how they did it here with this segment. So Big E, he kept joking about how Sami Zayn, man, he ain't a man, he a coward. Because you even though you win your matches, you do them in the most cowardly ways. You don't have the guts to beat somebody clean 1, 2, 3 in the ring or make them tap out. So I like what Big E was saying. Big E then grabbed Sami's hand and held it for 10 seconds, like Sami wins most of his matches by countout. And Sami Zayn was unable to fight out of it. So they look like, they are teasing maybe either Big E versus Sami Zayn or Sami Zayn versus, what's his name? Sami Zayn versus Daniel Bryan. I don't know. I don't see Big E becoming IC champion. The only way I would have no problem with Big E becoming IC champion is if the plan was for Daniel Bryan to face Roman at Mania. And I know we're a long way from that. But until I see, that change, because I don't want to see Big E become IC champion just to drop it so he can go after Roman. But Big E doesn't need the IC championship. He's held the title in the past, right? What we should be doing is building Big E up through singles feuds and then getting him prepared for Roman at Mania. He doesn't need the IC championship. Honestly, if it's my opinion, I think the person Sami Zayn should drop that IC title to is Kevin Owens. I think a babyface KO versus a heel Sami Zayn feud, reigniting that rivalry, you guys have heard me say this before, is one thing that SmackDown would be stupid not to do. They would be stupid not to get that feud going. But that's the way I see it. Let me know in the comment section, bro. What you guys think? Who should be the guy to take the title off of Sami Zayn? We'll see where this goes, because right now Sami has a lot of people after him for the IC Championship. He has Apollo Crews. He has Big E. He has Daniel Bryan, right? So we'll see where this goes. But the Daniel Bryan versus Sami Zayn match was great. It was great. Either way, it's great. You know, Sami Zayn, he's great in this opportunist, strategic heel role. And like I said, we'll see how long it works out for him. All right. Next up, we had Bianca Belair versus Natalya. All right. I didn't mind this. I didn't mind this at all. The segment did its job. You know, I did complain on the Survivor Series podcast how WWE had the opportunity to make Bianca into a star. They had the chance to make her into a big name star on Survivor Series if they had her be the sole survivor. But they decided to go the other direction with Lana. And I'm not going to sit here and talk about that. I've already talked about it enough on the Survivor Series and Monday Night Raw podcast. So go check those out. Go check those out if you guys want my thoughts on Lana being the sole survivor. But Bianca Belair, she is being built up quite nicely on SmackDown. Right, see, I will give WWE credit that I don't think she's lost since she's been on Survivor Series, or not Survivor Series, since she's been on SmackDown outside of Survivor Series. You know, and I've been saying this for months now, that Bianca Belair, she should be the one to challenge Sasha Banks at WrestleMania, right? She might even beat Sasha at WrestleMania. I don't know. We are still a long way away from WrestleMania, but that should be SmackDown's big match outside of whoever they have face Roman. Sasha versus Bianca should already be written in stone as the match for WrestleMania. Unless, the only way I would not take that unless Rhea Ripley comes to SmackDown, because Rhea Ripley is coming to the main roster, right? She just recently lost her NXT title match against Io Shirai, so she is main roster bound. So you can make an argument for Rhea Ripley to be on SmackDown or Raw. We're just going to have to wait and see. But if Rhea Ripley's on SmackDown, Sasha versus Rhea Ripley might be the match to go for. We'll just have to wait and see. But you know, Bianca Belair, she is being built up quite nicely. Bayley came out before the match, and she had a interest on commentary. And I've been saying for months that Bianca Belair, her next feud, her big feud before we get her to Sasha. Because honestly, I believe Bianca should probably win the Women's Royal Rumble as of right now. The big match, you know, or the big feud to get Bianca to Sasha should be Bianca versus Bayley. The story writes itself, right? Bayley, now that she's no longer champion, she's still a huge name. She's still a star. Nobody will argue that. Now it's time for Bayley to give back. Bayley's been dominant for the last year and a half as SmackDown Women's Champion. Now it's time for her to start building some other people up. Right? She could still be a big name, and one day she'll probably be champion once again, and I don't have a problem with that, right? But for right now, at least, right, it's time for Bayley to give back. And having her feud with Bianca, having them have like a series of matches would be perfect. If they want to do like a best of 3, I wouldn't even mind a best of 7, to be honest. We rarely see something like that. I would love to see a Bayley versus Bianca singles feud go on the next couple of months, right? And then Bayley putting over Bianca strongly. And then, you know, I would have Bianca win the Royal Rumble. And that leads us to getting the big match between Sasha and Bianca at WrestleMania. Hopefully. But my only problem with this match is it was longer than the segment Sasha was in, which we'll talk about in just a moment. But Bayley was on commentary, right? Bianca was struggling early because of the technical ability of Natalya. Then Bianca dumped Natalya to the outside of the ring. So then basically Natalya and Bianca, they start fighting the outside of the ring, and they get very close to the commentary table where Bayley is. Natalya almost runs into Bayley, but then Bianca goes for a punch, and she gets Bayley right in the mouth, right? So basically this set Bayley down. So then they got back into the But then they got back into the ring, right? Natalya wasn't paying attention because she was looking at Bayley, and then Bianca rolled her up for the win. So Bianca gets the win here, right? Bayley was unhappy at the outside of the ring because she got sucker punched. So clearly this is setting up Bianca versus Bayley. If you want to do their first match at TLC, I wouldn't even mind that. I'd rather see Bianca versus Bayley as a singles match on TLC rather than seeing anything with the SmackDown Tag Team Championships. And it's not because I don't care about the SmackDown Tag Team Championships. I just don't care about Bobby Roode and Dolph Ziggler. So, honestly, if you want to save their first match for TLC, I have no problem. Because like I said, I would love to see this be like a best of 5 or a best of 7 series. I would have no problem with that. Hopefully that's the direction WWE goes with Bianca and Bayley. But very simple stuff here. Clearly we see where they're going with Bianca and Bayley, and I cannot wait for that. Next up, we had King Corbin versus Buddy Murphy with the Mysterio family. All right, remember King Corbin earlier in the night was supposed to face Otis. But that match got canceled. So the Mysterio family, they were backstage, right? They were talking about how they're happy that Murphy as part of the family now, right? Because he's dating Alea. And, how they're finally done to have Seth Rollins, or they're finally, relieved to have Seth Rollins in the back mirror. So, basically, we saw King Corbin. He was angry because he didn't get his match with Otis, and he couldn't stand the Mysterio family. He kept saying that Murphy won't even be a part of this a year from now, which is most likely true, right? We'll see how long this storyline with Alea goes on, but and he kept talking about how Dominic wishes that he got the talent that Mysterio got. So, or that Ray got, so you guys don't get confused. So, Corbin was kind of dropping some truth bombs here, right? Talking about how Alea and Murphy most likely won't be together a year from now on WWE TV. And plus how, Dominic, who's not bad in the ring, but how he'll never be on the level of Rey Mysterio, which is facts. So then this led to a match with Murphy and Corbin, right? The whole thing going on here is that basically the Mysterio family kept getting involved. The Mysterio family were acting like heels. They were acting like heels. So, basically, after Corbin hit Murphy with a deep sick, Rey Mysterio distracted the referee. This angered King Corbin. So then, he kept beating down Murphy. Dominic distracted King Corbin again, allowing Murphy to land that beautiful bicycle knee he does. So then he went for the 3. All right, and basically Corbin did kick out, basically because he put his leg on the bottom rope, but Dominic threw it off. Dominic knocked Corbin's leg off the rope. So I don't know, they're making Baron Corbin look like a babyface here, which I don't care for Baron Corbin anyway. But the bigger story here is the Mysterio family, right? I would love first of all, the match. I didn't like the match anyway. I didn't like the match. But what doesn't make sense here is the Mysterio family is supposed to be baby faces. But here they are acting like heels. So I don't know. Maybe I would have no problem with if this led to a Mysterio family heel faction. No problem. I would love to see something like that. It would be fresh. Plus, we've almost never, ever gotten the chance to see Rey Mysterio as a heel on the main roster. Never. Really. If he has been a heel, it was for a very short amount of time. He really hasn't had a legit heel run since his WCW days. And that was 20 years ago. So, I don't know. You guys let me know. Would you guys like to see a heel Mysterio family? I would like it. Because, to be honest, they're kind of boring as baby faces. Murphy's a better heel than a face, right? Rey Mysterio being a heel would be fantastic. And Dominic's kind of bland to me. He's just bland. So, let me know what you guys think about that. Would you guys like to see the heel Mysterio family? If they do go down that direction, right, you can have Rey and Dominic challenge for the SmackDown Tag Team titles, giving the Street Profits another opponent, because you need tag teams more than ever. But I don't know. You guys let me know. What's your guys' thoughts on that? Would you guys like to see it? Yes or no? Let me know in the comment section down below. All right. Next up. So basically, Carmella cut a backstage promo. This segment only lasted about a minute and a half. I'm not going to go complaining again because I already did that in the opening shoot. But Carmella had a pretty decent promo. I'm not going to sit here and lie. The promo wasn't that bad. And I'm not a Carmella fan or anything. But this was not a bad promo by Carmella. By anything. But Carmella, she kept mentioning how she was once in Sasha's, position, being, one to do it for the fans, right? All the dancing, everything she used to do when she had the fabulous gimmick. Even though I will say this, Carmella babyface with the fabulous gimmick is better than what they're doing right now. I hate what they're doing with Carmella right now. I keep saying, it reminds me too much of the Divas era, and that bothers me. That bothers me a lot. But Carmella, she kept saying like, oh, she only does this for herself, right? And she's coming for the SmackDown Women's Championship. So I guess they gave a little bit of an explanation here of why Carmella, is going after Sasha. The problem here is, and I'm going to keep saying it, Carmella has not had a match since she's been back. Carmella's now been back about a month. She has not had one match on WWE TV. This is leading towards a Carmella and Sasha Banks match. And Sasha Banks will bring Carmella to the best match she's ever had on the main roster. I'm certain of that. But the problem I'm having is Carmella has not had a match since she came back. She has not given us any reason why to believe why she should be number one contender. So until they do that, I'm going to stick by what I've been saying. At least have a number one contender match or something. Something. Stop giving us random title matches just because one person attacks the other. I hate that nonsense. I really do. So, we see Carmella snaps her fingers requesting, some champagne, right? She doesn't get it on her first snap. After 2 snaps, right, we see someone gives her the champagne. And then, it's revealed that the person was wearing a boss ring. The only person that wears a boss ring, of course, is Sasha Banks. Michael Cole gets excited on commentary like Sasha Banks is here. And, Sasha attacks Carmella, puts her in the bank statement, but quickly the referees backstage break up the fight. So, I don't know. Where was the referees the last couple of weeks when Carmella attacked Sasha Banks? 3 times. The referees didn't come out once. So, logic gap. Only people like me would actually, remember that, right? The council would be like, oh my gosh, this was fantastic. Look, it was good for what it was. I wish Sasha would get more than fucking 45 seconds on SmackDown when she's been one of the best things all year for WWE. But, it is what it is. The segment did its job. Sasha being the babyface here, right? Coming up to Carmella, basically, because Sasha didn't attack Carmella from behind. She gave Carmella the champagne and slowly showed her boss ring. Right? Slowly showed her boss ring. Basically saying, oh, yeah, I'm here, bitch. And then when Carmella saw that it was Sasha, even though Carmella had like a delayed reaction, she, beat her ass. And that was that. So, I don't know if we're going to get Carmella versus Sasha next week. Right? I could definitely see them doing a singles match next week, and WWE being as wacky as they are, they'll probably have Carmella roll up Sasha. I hope I'm wrong. But, I would not be surprised if that's what WWE's going to do, because they haven't given us no reason why we should see this match as a title match. Even though Sasha will bring Carmella probably to the best match she's ever had on the main roster, it's still wacky as hell. Right, Carmella has done nothing to earn a championship opportunity at this stage. So, next up for our main event, we had Jey Uso versus Kevin Owens. This was really good, right? Like I said, Jey Uso is now a main event star, in my opinion. Right? We know when Jimmy Uso comes back, he'll be put right back in the tag team division where he's always been. But right now, man, Jey Uso has gotten to the point where he is a main event star. Man, he's putting on consistent main events every single week. Not against KO, against Daniel Bryan. No matter who you put him up against, right? He is consistent and he is good. I got to give Jey Uso, man, the credit here, man. He is doing some fantastic work. So, KO comes back. Jey Uso went after KO's left arm, trapping him to the ropes. Right, KO raked Jay's eyes to escape. Owens took control thanks to a catapult into the steel ring post, followed by a series of super kicks. Then he did the swanton bomb off the apron to the floor, which looked really good. But KO's, left arm, man, he couldn't do the pop-up powerbomb because he didn't have his arm was too worn out. So Owens got his knees up on an Uso splash, and he couldn't be put away. Jey Uso then grabbed a steel chair, causing a disqualification. Very similar to what we had been seeing Jey Uso do earlier in the show. So then Owens fought off Uso with a stunner. Then he threw Jey over the announce table before grabbing a steel chair of his own. So then he called out Reigns as he smacked down Uso. He demanded that the tribal chief face him, but Reigns and Paul Heyman only watched from backstage. Roman was clearly annoyed. I loved how KO sat at the announce table saying, I'm the head of this table. How Roman's always calling himself the tribal chief, the head of the household. So I really like this segment. I like that, this is going to set up KO versus Roman Reigns for the Universal Championship down the line, most likely at TLC. I believe KO and Roman faced off at TLC back in 2016 when Roman was a babyface and KO was the heel, and KO was the Universal Championship. Back when the Universal title looked like a piece of red velvet cake, back when it was, it had the red strap instead of being blue. But either way, KO versus Roman is going to be a great match. Clearly, KO's not going to win the championship. We know that. I think, after this, though, KO should be set up to take the title off of Sami Zayn. I've been saying that for months, since before the draft. I've been saying you should have Roman, or not have Roman. You should have KO come back to SmackDown, be a top babyface. You can have him fighting for multiple titles. He's that good. And a heel Zayn versus a babyface KO, it's a fresh feud because we've seen KO be the heel and Sami Zayn be the babyface. We've also seen them both work as heels, but we've never seen KO as the face with Sami Zayn as the heel. I feel like there's a really good story that they can tell there, and hopefully that's the direction they go in. But either way, even if this is just like a 1 month, blow off feud, I have no problem with it. I have no complaints. Right, I'm pretty excited actually because I'm happy to see KO finally back in that main event spot where he belongs, fighting for championships like the prize fighter he is. And plus, Roman's gonna, bring his A game to the feud as well. Right, I could definitely see this probably leading to a TLC match, which would be fantastic because we know how good both of these men are. We'll just have to wait and see how it goes. But I am excited to see where this goes. I am. This would be really good. And if this leads to Roman versus Big E or Roman versus Daniel Bryan, I don't have a problem with it. As long as KO most likely goes after Sami Zayn after this feud, I don't have a problem. All right. But all in all, tonight was a decent SmackDown. They did build towards, some good stories here. My only big complaint really is stop rewriting the show or start choosing to write the show 2 hours beforehand. Right, Sasha Banks deserves more than 45 seconds of airtime. Like, come on. When Natalya and Billie Kay, get more time on SmackDown than Sasha Banks, who is your women's champion, that's a problem. That's a problem. And I saw some people mentioning on Twitter how funny Billie Kay is. Billie Kay tried to give her resume on why she should be on the commentary team. That was hilarious. All right, not gonna lie. I'm not a big Billie Kay fan, but she does have some comedic. She has a little bit of a comedic side to her. But either way, SmackDown wasn't bad tonight. It was better than the go home show to Survivor Series we got last week. It was an okay show for the most part. I just want Sasha to get more time. She's the best in the world. She's been carrying this company on her back all year, and she deserves that. Right? But other than that, that's all I got for you guys today. Thank you guys so very much for joining me on the podcast. Make sure you guys let me know how you guys liked today's podcast and you guys thought of SmackDown in the comment section down below. Thank you guys so very much. If you guys are new to the channel, as always, leave a like on the video so we can push this video out and educate more people in the community. Also, make sure to subscribe if you guys are new to the channel by hitting the bell next to my name, Fitzmonk TV, so you guys are notified every time I post a new video. Thank you guys for everything once again. I'm going to get out of here. I'll see you guys later. Have a great day, guys. Stay safe and healthy. Happy late Thanksgiving for those of you guys who weren't here at the beginning of the podcast. But I'll see you guys later. Have a great day, guys.